This is Paul again. I've got another video to show you, and I'm calling this the Duo Phi Vector 3D processor. In my last video, I showed a new toy DNA Metro. This showed 30 geodesic rings. Now this contained 12 shells. And in order to produce these shells on a one-color printer, I decided to make grooves. And my idea was to fill the grooves in with different colored pens, because each one of them grooves acted like a metro going from one vector to another. And I showed in earlier videos that these vectors were the infrastructure for DNA. Nobody has ever proved me wrong, but the academics still push two-dimensional chaos. But researchers are showing that DNA and viruses are all based around vectors. But I guess it's time the academics stopped looking down their nose at the 3D geometry of the Duo Phi Vector system. I have showed in my earlier videos that the Duo Phi Vector system was used by the Celts for Stonehenge, and the Egyptians used it for the Great Pyramid. Yet these discoveries of the Duo Phi Vector system have been rejected for publishing by English academics. But they did thank me for my interest in science. Anyways, let's get back to this discovery. I showed in that video that I made 12 shells. 8 had double hubs and 4 shells had single hubs. Oh, and by the way, I used Fusion 360 to do this. Maybe Fusion is the top software for doing so many subtractions. This is a good test. But now I'm going to start showing colors for the rings instead of grooves. I have got myself Rhino 6 software. Now with Rhino I can show the shell and I can also show the arcs. Now with most modeling software you have to work with sketches and then work with modeling. They keep the two systems separate. So I'm finding that Rhino 6 is top of the list for this type of vector work. Okay, now I've made the arcs thicker by using the pipe command. Now you can see that these colored arcs are in perfect 3D symmetry, but the colors are not. Each of the 12 shells have got colored differences. Notice the top 4 shells only use one 2-color vertex hub, and the remaining 8 shells use a double vertex hub. So that is why I've numbered them S1 to S4 and D1 to D8. Okay, so now I'll put these shells together one at a time and make a sphere. And now you can see it goes together in a wonderful order. That is why I call it a 3D processor. And I showed this in my earlier videos about the DNA Metro. It's like a metro going from one vertex to the other. Okay, I've made another video showing the sphere going around, and I've added the vectors also. Before I start spinning it around, have a look at the red and cyan vertex. Now you can see that the red and cyan colors meet at that vertex. Now if you follow that vertex through the center point to the other side of the sphere, those two colors meet again. But the sequence is in reverse this time, just like the Lorentz effect. So it shows that chaos theory has led everybody down the garden path for 60 years. Okay, we'll do the same for the yellow and green vector. And you can see the yellow and green rings this time. Now if you look at my video, the 369 Metro that I done a few years ago, you can see that this comes from spherical cubes. So this would be the yellow and green cubes. And these two cubes are arranged perfectly at golden ratio to each other about this yellow and green vector. Okay, let's do the same for the purple and green vector. We leave this spinning around until we get a good view of the top and the bottom. purple and green vector. The top green and purple hub shows purple to green clockwise. Now look at the bottom hub, it shows the opposite. And I also show the hub colors opposite also. Sometimes I get the hub colors the wrong way round, but it's basically the same. Because the two color vector runs from one side to the other. And that is why I call the vector system the 10-20 vector system. I have also included the little pentagon hubs for the Icosa, and I show the vectors coming through the center. Now call the 612 vector system. Okay, let's get rid of the cube rings and show the dodeca edges on their own. Now if you look at my old video, the 369 Metro, I showed there were some wonderful sequences. Sequences would go from 1 to 10, but it would go 10 times around the sphere. I think this 5 cube setup is a wonderful 3D processor. It needs more research. Now I give enough information for anybody to build this and get it 3D printed. But it should be used for their own use only. If somebody wants to make it and sell it for a profit, my family should get a 5% cut. That's about all I can say today. So this is Paul saying thank you very much for watching my video.